ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामीनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 4, Chapter 11. Svāyambhuva Manu advises Dhruva Mahārāja to stop fighting. So, what we have seen is that Dhruva is being overwhelmed, and there is beautiful instructions by the Munis that, my dear Dhruva, please take shelter of the Supreme Lord. Munaya Urchuhu. Yannamadheya abhidhaya nishamya chadha. That you please take shelter of the Supreme Lord, and all illusions will vanish by taking shelter of the Lord. And now here, Dhruva is going to really fight. Till now, Dhruva was just fighting, and now Dhruva is going to really fight. So this chapter is all about this. So this chapter is divided into 4 sections. Text 1 to 5, Dhruva is overcoming the Yakṣas illusions, and he goes ahead with, he just increases the intensity of his fight. That is text 1 to 5. 6 to 14, Manu, appearance of Manu, and he reasons that why he should not be fighting so severely. Punishment is already done. That is 6 to 14. 15 to 26, understanding the ultimate cause as the Supreme Lord, saying that although yes, Yaksha was the cause of Uttama's death, but ultimately, Sarva Karana Karanam, the final cause is the Supreme Lord. And finally, 27 to 35, he is advising, please give up your anger and surrender to the Supreme Lord, to the will of the Supreme Lord. So these are the beautiful 4 sections in which we will see. So we come to text 1. Maitreya uvacha nishamya gadatamevam rushinam dhanushi dhruvah Tandade astramas upasprishya yad Nārāyaṇa nirimitam. Translation.
Sri Maitreya said, "My dear Vidura, when Dhruva Maharaj heard the encouraging words of the great sages, he performed the Achmana by touching water and then took up his arrow made by Lord Narayan and fixed it upon his bow." Purport: Dhruva Maharaj was given a specific arrow made by Lord Narayan himself, and he now fixed it upon his bow to finish the illusory atmosphere created by the Yakshas. As is stated in the Bhagavad Gita 7.14, Mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Without Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, no one is able to overcome the action of the illusory energy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also given us a nice weapon for this age, as stated in the Bhagavatam. that is Sāṅgō-pāṅgāstra. In this age, the Nārāyaṇāstra or weapon to drive away māyā is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in pursuance of the associates of Lord Sri Chaitanya, such as Advaita Prabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, Gadadhar Pandit, and Srivasa. Hare Krishna.
Dhruva heard the words of encouraging words of these great sages. He performed the Achaman and then decided to release Nārāyaṇāstra. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that Dhruva Mahārāja was given a specific arrow made by Lord Narayana himself, and now he fixed it upon the bow to finish the illusory atmosphere created by the Yakṣas. So Lord always gives, so Lord could see this kind of a fight happening, and therefore Lord awarded him Nārāyaṇāstra before departing. And now Dhruva, his memory restored by the good advice of the sages, he performed Achaman, and then he decided to use Nārāyaṇāstra. The first thing is, Lord will always give his devotees something beforehand. Right? So this is the first thing. Second thing is, it is the only Lord, Supreme Lord, who can destroy Maya. Daivihesha gudamayi mama maya duratyaya mameva ye prapadyante maya metam tarantite. And in Kali Yuga, there is Maya all around. Right? Kalau dosha nidhe rajan. And therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna himself, he comes with a very special Nārāyaṇāstra. So devotees also have a Nārāyaṇāstra. And what is that astra? That astra is Sāṅgō-pāṅgāstra parshadam yajñai sankirtana praye. That Nārāyaṇāstra, especially in the age of Kali Yuga, to drive the Maya away, Prabhupada writes, is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in pursuance with associates of Lord Chaitanya. What this means is Hare Krishna Mahamantra plus Panchatattva Pranam. So this Panchatattva Pranam is also extremely powerful. Which is that Panchatattva Pranam? Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. And therefore, before chanting Hare Krishna, we always recite this Mahamantra once, Panchatattva Mahamantra, and then we chant the Mahamantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Text 2. Sandhiyamana etasmin maya guhyaka nirmita kshipram vineshu vidura klesha jnanodaye yatha.
Translation. As soon as Dhruva Mahārāja joined the Nārāyaṇāstra arrow to his bow, the illusion created by the Yakṣas was immediately vanquished, just as all material pains and pleasures are vanquished when one becomes fully cognizant of the self. Purport. Krishna is like the sun, and Maya, or the illusory energy of Krishna, is like darkness. Darkness means absence of light. Similarly, Maya means absence of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness and Maya are always there, side by side. As soon as there is awakening of Krishna consciousness, all the illusory pains and pleasures of material existence are vanquished. Mayam etam taranti te. Constant chanting of the Mahamantra will keep us always aloof from the illusory energy of Maya. Hare Krishna.
So as soon as Dhruva Mahārāja joined the Nārāyaṇāstra, the illusion, he doesn't have to even release also. Illusion created by the Yakṣas was immediately vanquished. It is like, see, this as soon as Dhruva means as soon as we are putting our hand into bead bag. Right. So this is we putting our hand into bead bag. So this is how the illusions completely vanished. Just as the material pains and pleasures are vanished when one becomes fully cognizant that he is the cognizant of the self. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains Krishna Suryasam Maya hai andhakar Yahan Krishna tahan nai Maya radhikar. That Krishna is like Lord Krishna is like the Surya and Maya is like darkness. And where there is Krishna consciousness, there is no question of Maya. In fact, darkness means absence of light. Similarly, Maya means absence of Krishna consciousness. And this is how precisely Maya is being defined in the Chatushloki Bhāgavatam. What is Maya? Maya means anything separate than Krishna or the Supreme Lord is considered as Maya. And therefore, one powerful way to overcome Maya is our own Nārāyaṇāstra. And that Nārāyaṇāstra is constant chanting of the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Text 3. Tasyarthashastram dhanushi prayunjatah suvarnapangha kalaham savasasah vinisruta avisheshu dvishaddalam balam yatha vanam bhimarava-shikhandinah. Translation.
Even as Dhruva Mahārāja fixed the weapon made by Narayana Rishi onto his bow, arose with golden shafts and feathers like the wings of a swan flew out from it. They entered the enemy soldiers with a great hissing sound, just as peacocks enter a forest with tumultuous crowing.
So just as the weapon was fixed on the bow, golden shafts and feathers like the wings of the swan, the arrows began to flow from this particular Nārāyaṇāstra. Just as yatha vanam bhimarava-shikhandinah. Just like the peacocks with tumultuous sound, they enter the forest. Similarly, the arrows began to penetrate the enemy camp. So this is the potency of Nārāyaṇāstra. There is another mention of Nārāyaṇāstra in Mahabharata. So Nārāyaṇāstra was employed by Ashwatthama, and when Ashwatthama, when he released Nārāyaṇāstra, and then no weapon was working against Nārāyaṇāstra, and Krishna, he just told everybody that Krishna shouted that please drop down your weapons and simply surrender to Nārāyaṇāstra, and everybody dropped their weapons and they surrendered to Nārāyaṇāstra except Bhima. Okay. And Nārāyaṇāstra came full force on Bhima and began to attack on Bhima. And Krishna and Arjuna, they were shouting, Bhima, drop weapon, drop weapon, drop weapon. Because this is the strategy to counter Nārāyaṇāstra, is to surrender Nārāyaṇāstra. And then after a long time, Bhima realized that, oh, I have to counter this Nārāyaṇāstra, means I have to take shelter. It is none other than Krishna himself. And then he dropped. So there is mention of Nārāyaṇāstra even in Mahabharata. Text 4. Taitigmadharai pradhane shile mukhair itastatah punyajana upadritah tam abhyadhavan kupita udayudhah suparna unnadhafana ivahayah. Translation.
Those sharp arrows dismayed the enemy soldiers, who became almost unconscious, but various Yakṣas on the battlefield, in a rage against Dhruva Mahārāja, somehow or other collected their weapons and attacked. Just as serpents agitated by Garudas rushed towards Garuda with upraised hoods, all the Yaksha soldiers prepared to overcome Dhruva Mahārāja with their upraised weapons.
Yeah. So the sharp arrows, they dismayed the enemy soldiers and they became almost unconscious. So while this is happening, the Yakshas are not going to give up the fight so easily. Yakshas, they picked up the, whatever weapons they could pick up in the fight against Dhruva, and they attacked Dhruva Mahārāja just as, and there is a beautiful analogy here. Shloka after shloka there is an analogy. Just as serpents agitated by Garuda rushed towards Garuda with upraised hoods, right? So Garuda is attacking the serpents. And of course, Garuda is finally winning is going to be, Garuda is only going to win. So this is also very beautiful. The analogy also will give an indication that what is going to happen in the battle. Text 5. Tattana pushaktair abhidhavato mridhe nikritta bahu urushira udaran Nikruttabahu Urushirodharana Ninaya Lokam Paramarkamandalam Vrajanti Nirvidya Yamurdhvaretasaha. Translation.
When Dhruva Mahārāja saw the Yakṣas coming forward, he immediately took his arrows and cut the enemies to pieces. Separating their arms, legs, heads, and bellies from their bodies, he delivered the Yakṣas to the planetary system which is situated above the sun globe and which is attainable only by first-class brahmacharis who have never discharged their semen. Purport: to be killed by the Lord or by his devotees is auspicious for non-devotees. The Yakshas were killed indiscriminately by Dhruva Mahārāja, but they attained the planetary system attainable only for brahmacharis who never discharged their semen. As the impersonalist jnanis or the demons killed by the Lord attain Brahmaloka or Satyaloka, persons killed by a devotee of the Lord also attain Satyaloka. To reach the Satyaloka planetary system described here, one has to be elevated above the sun globe. Killing, therefore, is not always bad. If the killing is done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotees or in a great sacrifices, it is for the benefit of the entity killed in that way. Material so-called non-violence is very insignificant in comparison to killing done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotees. Even when a king or the state government kills a person who is murderer, that killing is for the benefit of the murderer. For thus, he may become cleared of all sinful reactions.
Yeah, it's a long purport. We'll read in sections. When Dhruva saw the Yakshas coming forward, he immediately took his arrows and cut the enemies into pieces. And their different bodily, just like a blast, current modern days, when we see some bomb blast, we will see all the bodily arms, legs, heads, bellies. They were just flowing in different direction. That was the scene created on the Yuddha Bhumi. But what was happening to the Yakshas? He delivered the Yakshas to the planetary system, which is beyond the sun globe and which is attainable. Ninaya lokam paramarka mandalam vrajanti nirbhidya yad urdhvaretasah. Only those first class brahmacharis, urdhvaretasah means, retasa means the semen, urdhva means the upward flow. Only by the first class brahmacharis who have never discharged the semen, and their semen is, instead of flowing downwards, it will start flowing upwards, and they are called as urdhvaretasah. And there is a destination for such personalities who are urdhvaretasa beyond the Paramarka Mandalam, and all these Yakshas who were killed by Dhruva were discharged to that place. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, to be killed by the Lord or a devotee is auspicious for the non-devotees. That's what we see in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Tathaiva channe naraloka veera ya ahave Krishna mukharvindam netrai pibanti nayanabhiramam Parthastra Paramapureta. That they were purified by the weapons of Partha Astra Putam, they were purified, and then they were focusing on the lotus face of the Supreme Lord and Paramapureta. All 64 crore soldiers killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra went back home, back to Godhead. Okay, keep aside some Duryodhan Dushasan kind of a fellows. So, when Prabhupada writes here, killing is not always bad, right? When the killing is done by the Supreme Lord, right? Lebhe gatim dhatri muchitam tatonyam kamva dayalu. So, this is in case of Putana. So, when killing is done by the Supreme Lord or killing is done by the pure devotee of the Lord, that acts as the ultimate benediction for such a personality. And therefore, killing, is not always bad. If it is done by the Supreme Lord or a pure devotee, with the context that, they are not in current era, in the context of, they are the Raja Rishis, they are the justice department themselves, like Arjuna was, like Dhruva is, okay, in this past time. Similarly, currently also, when a king or the state government kills a person who is a murderer, he is saved. It is actually for the benefit of the murderer. Otherwise, he is going to carry huge reactions, which he will suffer in the subsequent lifetimes. Yeah, please continue.
An
An
important word in this verse. Yes, Prabhuji, go ahead.
important word in this verse is Udharva Retasha, which means brahmacharis who never discharge demons. Celibacy is so important that even though one does not undergo any austerities, penances, or ritualistic ceremonies prescribed in the Vedas, if one simply keeps himself a pure brahmachari, not discharging his semen, the result is that after the death he goes to the Satyaloka. Generally, sense gratification life is the cause of all miseries in the material world. In the Vedic civilization, sense gratification life is restricted in various ways. Out of the whole population of the social structure, only the Grihasthas are allowed restricted sense gratification life. All other all others refrain from sense gratification. The people of this age especially do not know the value of not discharging semen. As such, they are variously entangled with material qualities and suffer an existence of struggle only. The word Udharva Retasha especially indicates the Mayavadi sannyasis who undergo strict principles of austerity. But in the Bhagavad Gita 8.16, the Lord says that even if one goes up to the Brahmaloka, he again comes back. Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punar Avartino Arjuna. Therefore, actual mukti or liberation can be attained only by devotional service because by devotional service one can go above Brahmaloka or to the spiritual world, wherefrom he never comes back. Mayavadi sannyasis are very proud of becoming liberated, but actual liberation is not possible unless one is in touch with the Supreme Lord in devotional service. It is said, Harim Vina Na Shritim Taranti. Without Krishna's mercy, no one can have liberation.
Srila Prabhupada further explains that another important word here is urdhvaretasa, means the brahmacharis who have never discharged the semen. And Prabhupada says, therefore, the celibacy is very important aspect of austerity. And out of the 4 ashrams, brahmachari, grihastha, vanaprastha, and sannyas, only grihastha is allowed to discharge semen under with a restricted condition that it is only with one's legitimate wife. Otherwise, that we very clearly say that the sense gratification or sex before marriage or outside marriage is considered as the illicit activity, right? And this is adharma very clearly. Because generally, this is, this life is the cause of all miseries in the material world. Later we'll see this verse in the Prahlad Maharaj is going to pray this. Yan maithunadi grihamedi sukham hi tucham kandu yanena karayoriva dukkha dukkham trupyanti neha krupana bahudukha bhajam kanduti vatmanashijam vishahet yodhirah. And therefore, one is advised to tolerate such a life as per one's time, place, and circumstances. So what is the time, place, and circumstances? The point here is very clear that the life of sense gratification, so here it is being discussed. I mean, we use that word specifically when the sex life is being discussed here. That is allowed only in the Grihastha ashram. And what is the standard in Grihastha ashram? It's very simple. The standard in Grihastha ashram is lowest of the 2 between husband and wife. There is no point one claiming to be a urdhvaretasa and and the other partner is a very bad word, but the other person in the marriage relationship, in the marriage, is fulfilling those feelings outside of the marriage. Right. So there is, it is like throwing the baby out of the tub water. So that is not the point. The whole thing is lost there. So sometimes this may also happen. People become excessively encouraged by some association or something, and they may follow a standard. One may follow a standard where other partner may go to hell. That is not a correct standard, right? So the standard of this activity between Grihastha ashram is the lowest standard of the both between the 2, right? Between the husband and wife. Further, Srila Prabhupada says, people in this age do not know the value of the semen. So in Krishna consciousness, there is one book written by His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj. And that entire book is called as Brahmacharya in Krishna Consciousness, BKC, Brahmacharya in Krishna Consciousness. And then there are pages on, what is the value of the semen. According to Ayurveda, 1 drop of semen is equal to 64 blood drops. Okay, so there are, specific Ayurvedic text. And in the Saptadhatu means, first there is Anna gets converted to Meda, and progressively Rakta, and finally it is converted to Majja, and then finally it is converted to Virya. So Virya is considered as the topmost of the Saptadhatu within the body, right? And therefore it is considered to be extremely valuable and never to be discharged unnecessarily. That is the idea. So when we do these outreach programs, Bhagavad Gita programs in the colleges and everywhere, nowadays, because of the web series, because of internet being so easily available, page 3 kind of a culture, pornography, so so easily available, people, they get into many bad habits, and one of the bad habits is like masturbation or something like that, and and they will just destroy their health is destroyed. Then there, one will have lots of acne on the body, one will have the heat strokes, all that comes in because of this unnecessary waste of the semen, right? And Prabhupada says, and only preserving semen without devotional service, like the Mayavadis sannyasis, they are extremely strict Mayavadi sannyasis, and they will point here that simply by doing this one austerity, one can actually go to the place Paramarka Mandalam. But Prabhupada says, what is the use? Because one may go up, but again, if one is not taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, Abrahma Bhuvanaloka Punaravartino Arjunaha, one has to come back. So one may go up to Brahmaloka, but if one has to come back, but that is not the case with the devotee. The devotee can go back home, back to Godhead, Yad Gatva Na Nivartante. And this is not possible without mercy of the Supreme Lord. So simply austerity is not enough to get out of this material world. Austerity is supported by devotional service. Text 6. Tanhanyamana nadivyaksha guhyaka nanagasaschitrarathena bhurishaha auttanapadim krupaya pitamaho manurjagatu pagata saharshivihi. Translation.
When Svāyambhuva Manu saw that his grandson Dhruva Mahārāja was killing so many of the Yakṣas who were not actually offenders, out of his great compassion he approached Dhruva with great sages to give him good instruction. For Dhruva Mahārāja attacked Alkapuri, the city of the Yakṣas, because his brother was killed by one of them. Actually, only one of the citizens, not all of them, was guilty of killing his brother, Uttama. Dhruva Mahārāja, of course, took a very serious step when his brother was killed by the Yakṣas. War was declared and the fighting was going on. This sometimes happens in present days also. For one man's fault, a whole state is sometimes attacked. This kind of wholesale attack is not approved by Manu, the father of the lawgiver of the human race. He therefore wanted to stop his grandson Dhruva from continuing to kill the Yaksha citizens who were not offenders.
When Svayambhuva Manu saw this, now Svayambhuva Manu was not ruling, but within his Manvantara, the whole thing is happening, and all these great personalities exist, right? So such a nice thing, So the Manus are still there, and the demigods are still there. What to speak of the Supreme Lord? He's absolutely still there. So this is not some fantasy or imagination. These are realities. They exist. Later we'll see in the 12th canto, the personality who is supposed to establish Satya Yuga, they are already there on the planet Earth. Okay. And they are doing their own tapasya, and they are waiting for some 4 lakh odd years to get over. When Kali Yuga is over, Kalki Avatar will do the needful. They will establish Satya Yuga. They are already there. They have come here. Right. They are on the planet. So Svayambhuva Manu, when he saw his own grandson becoming so angry and killing so many Yakshas who were not actually the offenders, he took a great compassion and he approached Dhruva along with Sarishibhi, along with many sages. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, Yakshas had killed one citizen of Dhruva, and that is Uttama. And Dhruva, in return, attacked Alkapuri and was killing Yakshas in thousands. And this was not correct from the Manusmriti point of view. We have seen this. The punishment has to be in proportion to the offense. Of course, because Dhruva is a pure devotee, all those Yakshas being killed, they were transported to Paramarka Mandalam, they were transported to Satyaloka, they got a very high destination. But still on the Dhruva's part, this is not good. For one man's fault, a whole state cannot be attacked, right? So, and this kind of a wholesale attack is not approved by Manu. And we can see there are many examples of this now currently going on. And then there are many pros and cons as well. I mean, we just cannot talk about this kind of attack by one country, by one state on another state, or another strip of, because people are just hiding. I mean, the whole thing has got so complicated in Gaza, Israel. Or the same thing, even Advani ji, he advised in 2002, Raja Dharma. Okay. So this is something very similar. So text 7, Manu Urchahu. Manu Mahārāja is going to speak now and give his beautiful advice, Svayambhuva Manu, reasoning not to kill the Yakshas. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaurav Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.